Now let's wait for some more participants to join. In this time, let me begin with some announcements. Dear participants, we will begin the seminar in about 1 or 2 minutes. In the meantime, we are allowing a few more minutes to everyone join. And I have a quick reminder that please make sure that your Zoom display name matches your full name as used in the registration as first name plus last name. And by joining this session, you're considered to have accepted a data privacy consent as part of your registration process. And during this session, you may ask your questions by either unmuting yourself and speaking directly or by using the Q&A or chat sections. And thank you for your participation. And we will get started in a minute. Do you have any notifications, Lemana? Anything to suggest? Okay. Do you mind if somebody asks a question during your presentation, or you want to prefer?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Anytime you can ask your questions. Okay. Okay, maybe you change it to the presentation mode, then we can have the full screen mode.
Of course.
Spahic.
Yes.
Okay, sorry for that.
No, it's all good.
It's okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. It's a pleasure to open the fourth session of the 5 Beats of Intelligence AI Meets Diverse Domains seminar series, a joint effort under the EuroCC-4C project. As you may know, this series is the outcome of close collaboration between the national competence centers of Turkey, Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina. We sincerely thank all our partners for their valuable contributions. Now, today, we continue our series with a session titled AI Meets Healthcare. We are honored to welcome Dr. Lemana Spahic, Senior Expert Associate at the Verlab Institute, and Mary Siklodowska-Curie, Early Stage Researcher at BioIRC. Dr. Spahic is an expert in biomedical engineering and the application of artificial intelligence in medicine. Holding a PhD in genetics and bioengineering, she has extensive experience in building predictive models for diagnostics and medical device performance. Her advanced expertise spans data analysis, machine learning, and complex biological system modeling. As the author of numerous scientific publications and a strong advocate for technological innovation in healthcare, she bridges science, industry, and clinical practice to drive progress in digital medicine and personalized therapies. We look forward to her insights on how AI is shaping the future of healthcare. Dr. Spahic, Lemana, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction. It is my pleasure to speak in front of the participants. Before delving into the topic, I will just briefly say something about our National Competence Center. Basically, it is established as a partnership between two institutions, an SME Verlab, which is basically a medical device inspection laboratory, and a research institute, which is Verlab Institute, where Verlab SME was the founder of Verlab Institute, and then the two have partnered up and were the ones to establish the National Competence Center. Now, our international partnerships span the European Innovation and Technology Institute, EuroCC, WHO, and Digital Innovation Hubs. And our affiliates are the Fusion X, European Digital Innovation Hub, the Center for Digital Transformation, and the Society of Medical and Biological Engineering in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now, what services do we offer at the moment? Those span training and education, which are basically workshops, seminars, and specialized trainings on high-performance computing, then consultations and advisory meetings for the aforementioned, grant and research support for perspective research ideas, and modeling and simulation using the high-performance computing infrastructure. Up until now, we have organized several workshops: the bioinformatics workshop, Sarajevo Roadshow, which was focused on climate protection, and a workshop for AI in agriculture. And these are some of the highlights from the Sarajevo Roadshow. Basically, this was a really, really interesting exhibition where the participants had the opportunity to visit a sort of a time capsule and see how our world will look like if the pollution is not stopped in the meantime. Also, we have organized the summer school for which highlighted the efficiency of high-performance computing in medicine and digital transformation of healthcare. Also, the EIT Health Morning Talks. And in total, that summed up to 12 workshops with almost 600 participants. We are making bridges between the other national competence centers. Specifically, we have visited Montenegro, Slovenia, and Netherlands, NCC, and currently we are in the process of awareness raising campaign where we are significantly expanding our collaborations with SMEs, large enterprises, public administration, and academic institutions. And what was the overall result from the activities that we have conducted in the past year? That the second year has started with greater engagement, stronger collaborations, and a transition from initial assessment to implementation and deeper partnership across sectors. Now, Dr. Sazan has already introduced me. I will just briefly introduce my fields of interest. So basically, I have started as a data analyst, and my initial passion was data analytics and data science in the realm of standardization of post-market surveillance of medical devices using big data. Then slowly I have transitioned towards AI, and I have profiled myself into as you will see during my talk, really complementary fields, which are applied AI in medical diagnostics and applied AI in medical device performance assessment. My engagements are multidisciplinary. I work in research at Verlab Institute, and I've finalized my engagement with BioRC by defending the second PhD. So now I am again full-time back at Verlab Institute. Also, I have worked in industry, and you will see how we have managed to transition from a research project to a viable product which can be patented and launched into the market. And I also work as an affiliate for IEEE Standards Association, as the president of the Order of Young Scientists for International Academy of Sciences and Arts. So what am I trying to do? What is my goal with all of these engagements? It's basically to open more and more opportunities for young and prospective researchers to delve into the field of applied engineering in healthcare. So basically, an introduction will be how AI can be used in healthcare in clinical decision support systems. When it comes to AI for diagnostics, I will present my first PhD, which was the application of artificial intelligence in ultrasound imaging classification of infant neurological impairment disorders. And there you will see how everything started with a really interesting research project, and how it turned out into something that can be practically used in healthcare. And then I will talk about AI for medical device performance assessment with smart medical device management, and I will present the infant incubator case study. So without further ado, this is the fundamental, how AI can be integrated into decision support systems. Now, every visit to a doctor's office begins with a patient-provider interaction. So when you come into the doctor's office, he asks you about the symptoms that you are experiencing. He or she, they will send you to do some lab work or some other more sophisticated medical tests. And nowadays, most healthcare institutions have electronic health records, and all of this data is stored in an electronic health record. When we have a project in mind, we contact the physicians and we ask them, okay, how many patients do you have that are suffering from a specific condition? And they say, yeah, according to our electronic health records, we have 200 of them. Okay, do you have then the ethics part comes into play, of course. Can the data be used? All of the data that we get is completely anonymized, and all of the participants are asked, are they willing to give their data for research purposes? And then after we fill in the ethical part, we can use that data as input for our artificial intelligence models. Now, we use that data for training. We test different machine learning algorithms or knowledge-based systems, depending on the complexity of the problem itself. And with that large pool of data, we construct a functional algorithm. We validate it in the controlled environment. We validate it within our research infrastructure, and then as an output, we get a certain recommendation. Now, what is important to note is that this recommendation is not something that is intended to substitute the physician. It is only intended to streamline the healthcare workflow, to make everything faster, to make recommendations faster, referrals to specialist offices, therapies, basically every single aspect of diagnostics, to make it quicker and more accessible. And finally, of course, the physician is the one who inspects this result and relies the final information to the patient. Now, how does it look like when you want to start from scratch? So, how it all started? It started by combining several fields: biomedical engineering, clinical engineering, artificial intelligence, and fetal neurology. Now, this entire project within the medical domain is in the domain of fetal neurology, as you will see further on. Now, when it comes to fetal neurodevelopment, it passes through several stages. It is a really complex process, but as you can see on this figure, neurogenesis, basically the development of neurons in the brain, starts as early as 4th week after conception. Now, why is this important? Why am I talking about this? Because fetal neurodevelopmental disorders, several of them, can be cured in utero. So basically, there are compounds that are called neurotropic agents that can be injected into the umbilical cord, and they can basically manage the repair of damaged neural pathways, resulting in giving birth to a healthy child, which would previously suffer from a severe condition such as cerebral palsy. Now, neurological impairment disorders are a severe healthcare burden, and they represent lifelong conditions. As you can see here, that's due to neurological diseases in the European Union alone surpass 1 million. In addition to being an increased burden to healthcare, they also cause high mortality. They are also associated with different comorbidities. So basically, if we can mitigate and minimize the risk of developing a neurological impairment disorder, we are providing a stepping stone to decreasing the incidence of several other diseases. So most common ones are stroke, neonatal encephalopathy, migraine, dementia, meningitis, epilepsy, neurological complications associated with preterm birth, nervous system cancers, autism spectrum disorders, Parkinson's disease, and of course, cerebral palsy. Now, every AI-based decision support system has its medical counterpart. In this case, it was the Kuriak antenatal neurodevelopmental test, which is basically established as the golden standard in the field of evaluating fetal neurological health completely non-invasively, utilizing only 4D ultrasound and the patterns of fetal movement within the womb. And what are the parameters that are being observed? Those are the isolated head anteflexion, basically how the baby moves its head. Then cranial sutures and the head circumference, eye blinking, facial alterations such as grimacing or tongue expulsion, yawning or mouthing, isolated hand movements, isolated leg movements, hand-to-face movements, finger movements, where an important indicator of cerebral palsy is the neurological thumb, where the fetus basically holds a tight grip of its thumb throughout the recording. And afterwards, the Gestalt perception of generalized movements. Now, the research hypothesis was that AI can be effectively used for analysis of 3D and 4D ultrasound recordings of fetuses, that fetal neurodevelopment can be assessed by combining the Canet test score with AI, and that by monitoring fetal movements in the womb with ultrasound and AI, we can tell normal from abnormal neurodevelopment. The methodology started with data gathering, where I have obtained a grant to visit the largest Canet testing facility in Europe, the Alexandra Maternity Hospital in Athens in Greece. And I have worked with the physicians for 10 days on explaining to them how I need the data gathered. I also obtained some retrospective data in order to train my algorithm. Then the second step was data pre-processing, and this is the most critical step for any AI algorithm, especially for healthcare-related algorithms. Then a deep learning model based on convolutional neural networks was developed, and finally, a simple graphical user interface design was designed in order to be able to test the algorithm in real time. Now, data pre-processing went through several stages. Initially, all of the images that were derived from 4D ultrasound, around 11,000 of them, they had to be classified. Of course, I had the category of invalid, where some of the frames were basically not not useful for the algorithm. Then facial expression, hand-to-face movements, characteristic thumb or finger movements, leg movements, and class pathological, where the fetus does not exhibit any movements. Second step was image denoising and improvement with filtering, denoising, quality improvement, and pixel intensity reduction, followed by cropping to only the desired frame and contrast enhancement. What is important to note is that everything was done using Python, different libraries, of course. Then the most important step, data augmentation, because severe class imbalance is always present in diagnostic AI algorithms. It was performed on all classes except facial expression because this was the overrepresenting class. It was done by rotating in different angles. So I didn't want to generate synthetic data per se, where I would use generative adversarial neural networks to generate the data. I just wanted to enhance the scope, the domain of rotations in which I can observe a certain movement.
Can I ask a quick question in here before you move on? How do you collaborate? Do you collaborate with any HR with high market share to collect data in here? And if so, do you process the data you collect in the country where you collect it? Or, I mean, I'm really glad if you can like elaborate your data collection process and like so that, yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to the data collection, basically because this hospital, the Alexandra Maternity Hospital, is a research hospital, all of the CANET tests that were conducted, the mothers have already signed the acceptance form that the data collected can be used specifically for research purposes. So I have mostly relied on retrospective data because collection, the initial idea was to collect the data in real time. But that would take a lot of time because the incidence of neurological impairment disorders that are detected is low. So therefore, I have used the retrospective data in order to get as much variability in my data as possible, if that was your question.
Yeah, like my question mostly on the like if you like collaborate with any HR that has a high market share like Epic or any of them like let's say Oracle Cerner, they mostly work on the like across the country so that if you collect data through them you need to like you need to also obligate to how to like process these data. That's why I asked. So
We didn't collaborate with any of those.
got it. Thanks.
No problem. So when it comes to image classification, I have designed just a simple user interface in order to make everything easier because I had to classify 11,000 images. Now, I wasn't the one that was determining what was on the image. The physicians provided me with a data set of images and an Excel file where I had annotations, what was present on which image, but I had to classify that into corresponding folders. And then for the deep learning model, of course, we always start with an assumption that some of the ready-to-use architectures will work. I have tried the VGG13, VGG19. I have tried ResNet, DenseNet. Basically, any architecture that had a literature-based evidence that it could work on ultrasound recordings. However, none of them shown good performance. They have all shown significant overfitting. Therefore, I have decided to design a custom CNN architecture for the purpose of this of the project itself. And basically, this was a process of trial and error, where I have conducted over 100 iterations to adjust and fine-tune the number of convolutional layers, number of filters, number of neurons in each layer, the activation functions used, etc., etc. So there was a lot of fine-tuning, and I got to the final architecture. What is interesting is that the more complex architecture, the more complex the architecture, the worse the performance. So therefore, really, initially I thought that I would need a network as deep as possible, and afterwards I came to the understanding that a quite shallow architecture works for this problem. Now, TrueAid was validated in two ways. What we call conventional validation, where I have tested it with the 20% of the data set, which was ultrasound images, and real-time validation that was performed on random frames parsed from the 4D ultrasound recordings, and you will see a demo in a couple of minutes. Now, the confusion matrix, the validation confusion matrix for the conventional validation looked like this. So basically, there was no significant misclassifications between the classes, and this was the most difficult to achieve between the hand-to-face and facial expression classes, because in each and every hand-to-face image, you also have certain grimacing of the baby. So it was a real challenge to fine-tune the hyperparameters within the neural network for it to be capable of differentiating between these. And these were the final performance metrics, where the overall accuracy of the system surpassed the 95% biomedical threshold. It was 96%. And what was important is that the performance was balanced out through all of the classes. So we didn't have overfitting, and we didn't have any bias within our model towards the category that it works best with, and then for it to work really, really bad for the other. Now, the vision behind the project was to say this was the vision that we had in early 2020. Yes, early 2020, mid 2020, where we said, okay, we want to make something that will be available throughout the world, and we want Europe to be our pilot. Why did we decide for Europe? Because within Europe, you have both high-income countries with really sophisticated healthcare infrastructure, and you have mid-income countries and low-income countries, such as Bosnia, where the availability of sophisticated testing, medical tests is really, really low, especially when it comes to fetal health. So the idea was to develop an algorithm that will be deployed in the cloud and that will enable real-time pattern recognition and decision support for risk assessment in form of a digital system that will finally improve real-time diagnosis of fetal neurological impairment disorders using an AI-based algorithm developed under the principles of trustworthy and explainable AI. And the idea was to initially develop an algorithm that is functional, to deploy it, and to keep retraining it in order to make it as powerful as possible. Now, at the time, we didn't have any idea that we would get the opportunity to work with high-performance computers. So I had to focus a large part of my research towards optimization of the algorithm so that it can be ran on basically any computing infrastructure. And I have managed to optimize it in that domain. But when I look back, if I had access to HPC, the process of the development of the algorithm itself would be decreased from a year to maybe a month, because every iteration, every single hyperparameter that I have fine-tuned had to pass through an iteration of the convolutional neural network that was around 2 to 4 hours, depending on the complexity of the architecture. So this is a demo that I will now play. I hope that it will work. So basically the physician can load a video, the recording from the 4D ultrasound, and then they can play it. When they play it, they can pause at any desired frame, hit pause and predict, and they will get a pop-up. Basically, the pop-up will say either a single movement or a multitude of movements if a multitude is present. And all of this is fed into a backend database for the final purpose of diagnostics, as you will see later on. Now, this recording is quite homogeneous, and basically, for the sake of time, I have only played it for a couple of minutes, whereas the Canet test is conducted for 20 minutes in order to see all of the movements. But here also you can basically see the functionality of the algorithm. Again, the same combination of movements was detected. And in the end, the physician can say, I want a summary. The summary will say how many movements and which categories of movements were present. And in accordance with the Canet testing framework, it will provide the final result, whether the child is under no risk for developing a neurodevelopmental disorder, is it borderline, or at risk for developing an NDD. And basically, that was the demo. So what was the impact of TrueAid? The developed solution goes beyond state-of-the-art in neurodevelopmental risk assessment and disease prediction, demonstrating a high innovation potential as it examines novel concepts in the field of digital health and integrated care in neurological diseases, testing a new digital health tool service. And this was recognized by the EIT Jumpstarter program and the German investment fund organized a Business Angel Summit, where our idea was selected as the top contender at startup competitions. And also with this solution, Bosnia and Herzegovina has had its first ever nomination for the World Summit Awards for the most innovative digital health solution. TrueAid is based on an interdisciplinary approach where engineering and medicine are perfectly intertwined, with a joint aim of making fetal neurodevelopmental risk assessment available for all. The solution enables streamlining of neurodevelopmental risk assessment, resulting in enhanced capacities for early diagnosis and timely intervention. And the long-term impact is multi-phased, starting with strengthening diagnostic capacities, improving neurodevelopmental disorder treatment workflows, and basically diminishment of morbidity and mortality from neurological impairment disorders. So that was it for this part. If you want, maybe we can make a Q&A about this part, or if you want me to finish the entire presentation and then go towards the Q&A, I'm fine with both.
We have two generic questions, so maybe you can complete your presentation, then we can go through, okay?
Okay, deal. So now I am going towards AI for medical device management. Now, before I talk about the application of AI for medical device management, again, I have to tell you something about the background of the project. The healthcare system and patients worldwide basically face similar challenges. A patient goes under a series of tests, and the results of tests are always measurements. These are numbers, graphs, or images that are generated using all sorts of medical devices. But the main issue is that there is no standardized measurement or data. This imposes challenges in both the realm of medical device management and diagnostic support systems. The doctor, the patient, the family members, and all other medical staff rely on the test results. Now, what we always say, in God we trust, all others must bring data. The same goes for medical devices. In God we do trust, but we don't trust medical devices that are not regularly inspected and checked whether they are performing on within the state of the art. Now, key components of a functional post-marketing surveillance system is data collection and monitoring, risk assessment analysis, corrective and preventive actions, and documentation and reporting. When it comes to data collection, there are several aspects: user feedback, clinical studies, and device registries. Risk assessment is conducted through evaluating complaints, trends, and incidents. CAPA basically addresses the issues and prevents recurrence of problems. And every problem with a medical device must be recorded. Now, when it comes to data collection and monitoring, the purpose is to collect real-world data to assess device performance and safety after market release. Sources of data are user feedback, clinical studies, device registries, complaint handling systems, all with the goal of early identification of trends or issues in order to analyze them, perform CAPA, and improve safety and performance. Now, future trends within this domain include AI and big data analytics, which enables real-time monitoring of devices and detects patterns and anomalies faster. Predictive analytics, which is something that I will be talking about, which uses machine learning to forecast potential failures or risk and reduces the reliance on reactive approaches. Cloud-based systems that facilitate centralized data storage for better accessibility and allow automated reporting and compliance tracking, using blockchain technology, of course, to enhance the data security and transparency in data sharing, with an impact of improving risk management and compliance efficiency. Now, what is the problem in the entire market of medical devices? As you can see here, medical device development and from development to utilization, there are several phases. The first phase is research, where we have ideation and initial feasibility studies. The idea must be approved within the lab in order to go into design and development. Now, when it goes into design and development, everything becomes strictly controlled under the ISO 13485 standard and the medical device, the new medical device regulation, or under the FDA in the US. And the manufacturer must comply with all of the standards and all of the requirements in order for their device to go onto the market. In Europe, it's getting the CE regulatory approval. In the US, it's getting an FDA 510K approval. But what happens once the device is placed on the market? Basically, there is no standardized framework for inspection of medical devices once they are placed on the market. Everything relies on corrective maintenance. There is no concept of proactive and preventive, let alone smart medical device management. Now, that is something that we are trying to do. We have published a series of articles that display the methodology behind standardized medical device performance assessments. and followed it with a series of articles where we showcase how this has transformed the landscape of accurate and faulty medical devices in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Serbia. And now recently, in the past months, we have used the data that was collected throughout these regular performance inspections to evaluate the effectiveness of AI algorithms to predict device failures. Now, the suggested methodology is the usage of, once the device is used in a healthcare institution, to implement a framework that will allow for more preventive and less corrective maintenance, and to facilitate this through a combination of periodic conformity assessments and intelligent systems. Now, this is a brief overview of the infant incubator case study, and basically all of the algorithms have the same gist. So we use the device information, which is related to the safety and performance parameters. When it comes to the safety parameters, it is basically, it stems from visual inspection and electrical safety inspection. So whether the device chassis is complete, whether all the cables are there, whether original parts are present on the device, whether there are clear labelings and markings on the device, whether it passes the electrical safety inspection, which is conducted. And then if it passes all of those, it goes to performance assessment. Now, for performance assessment, we have different ethelons that we use for different medical devices. And we measure the parameters that are specific for that device. For example, for the infant incubators, it's the humidity and temperature that we always measure, because those two are the fundamentals of a functional infant incubator. If any of those goes wrong, the incubator is either inefficient for the child, or it can bring upon severe consequences to the baby. Now, all of that data is fed into an expert system. Why do we entitle it an expert system? Because in some cases, it's a single machine learning algorithm. In others, it's a complex neural network. And in some other cases, it is a combination of several machine learning algorithms, neural networks, fuzzy logic, etc., etc. So in this study, several of them were tested. And the output is basically the probability that the device will fail. And as I said, several machine learning algorithms were tested: the naive Bayes, the decision tree, random forest, KNN, and SVM. And you can see that all of them achieved significantly high performance. However, for this specific purpose, the decision tree achieved the highest performance. So this was the first ever study that we have presented on how AI can be effective for medical device management. Now, recently, at Verlab Institute, led by Professor Dr. Leila Gurbeta-Pokvic, we have worked on a book for the World Health Organization, where we have introduced everything from the fundamental concepts to these case studies for an intelligent maintenance management system for medical devices. And the book is accepted for publication, and we are awaiting it to be available on the bookshelves, as we like to say. So where do we go from here when it comes to smart medical device management? We go towards predictive failure detection, anomaly detection in real time, optimization of maintenance schedules, resource allocation and inventory forecasting, and effective feedback loops for device design and improvement. So basically, this was it from my presentation. You can use this QR code to access our National Competence Center website. It is basically nccHPCBIH.verlabinstitute.com, where you can see all of the activities that we are conducting. And we are inviting you to join us at our conference on medical and biological engineering in Bosnia and Herzegovina that will take place from 11th to 13th of September this year. And the motto for the upcoming conference is From Science to Business, where we will merge the industry community and the academic community in order to facilitate interactions, B2B meetings, where researchers will have access to industry experts, and we are hoping to provide an effective platform for the exchange of expertise and ideas that will result in more healthcare-related startups. Thank you for your attention, and I am now available for any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Lemana. Do we have any questions?
I have another quick question.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you show some like architectural images, conceptual architectural images, and the architecture you show certain it doesn't seem trivial to me. And can you explain why you choose which clusters before deploying your architecture? And of course, other than like the requirement of being HIPAA compliant, like what was the key decision makers during this process?
Are you talking about the true aid or the second, or the medical device
The
management?
first one. No, the first one.
You are asking how did I decide on
Why
the...
you choose the which cloud service? Like, what was your like decision process during this like because as far as I understand, you're deploying your architecture to one of the HIPAA compliant cloud services, right? No?
We still didn't deploy anything in the cloud. It is not yet available for the healthcare institutions.
Okay, it's just
So
okay,
it
conceptual, right?
it it wa- it is the, let's say, the macro concept. It is still not deployed.
I got it. Okay.
Thank you for your question. And any other comments? No, we have two questions in the Q&A section. The first one, from your work in medical imaging and diagnostics, what areas do you think still pose the biggest challenges for AI?
I would always say CT imaging, because of the stacking because of volume rendering. That is, as far as I have worked with it, CT was the most complex, and I have worked with CT images for the second PhD, and basically the reconstruction of arteries from CT imaging is a really difficult task. So basically, reconstruction from CT images would be, by my opinion, the most challenging task.
Yeah, and continuing to question, where do you see the most potential for improvement in real-world clinical settings?
It is definitely in the imaging field. The diagnostic support systems that are based on, let's say, numeric data, they are really efficient. It is easier to develop them because you can augment the data set. And they have already been deployed. They are used in healthcare institutions, and they streamline the processes. However, the segment of healthcare that is always lagging in every country is the one related to imaging. So in every country, you have hundreds of people waiting in line to do a CT scan, to do an MRI, to do basically every single imaging modality is not super available. And if the diagnostic process can be streamlined, if the physician doesn't have to spend an hour analyzing the imaging data from a single patient, but just do the imaging, and the system itself with an integrated AI module gives him the either segmentation or pinpointing the diseased areas, or depending on the purpose, then we can make healthcare more efficient, because every physician will have more time to devote to a single patient, and also they will be able to examine more patients daily. So definitely the answer would be in the realm of imaging.
Okay. And of course, from your work, you have to deal with large amounts of data, medical data sets, and it brings us to the point of supercomputing and supercomputers. So high performance computing, another question, high performance computing enables the processing of vast medical data sets. Do you have any experience on supercomputers? If so, could you share how HPC, high performance computing, has enhanced your ability to train or apply AI models in your healthcare research projects?
So when it comes to our National Competence Center, I haven't worked on that specific one, because it is in the process of establishment for the past year, and now we have recently, a couple of months ago, we have a functional sandbox. But during my study visit to Greece, to University of Ioannina, I had access to their supercomputer, and at the time I wasn't at the stage in my project where I was developing an AI algorithm, but I was running finite element simulations, and basically on a computer with good performance, with a GPU and everything. If a simulation is like 2.5 hours long, when I deploy it on the supercomputer, it is like maybe a couple of minutes, up to 10 minutes max. So what high performance computing enables is really fast, effective research part, because every research, when it comes to applying sophisticated algorithms, takes time. As I said initially, it's all the process of trial and error. Of course, as you become more experienced, you know what fine-tuning is suitable for what project. But when you have access to something where you get results instantly, you are way ahead, and you can finalize projects more quickly. So the speed is the main thing.
Maybe in your future projects and works, maybe more these supercomputing things will be involved in your research.
Of course, that is our number one priority now, is basically to utilize what we have when it comes to the high performance computing infrastructure, and to see how our effectiveness will increase, how we will increase the turnaround of projects, and our general productivity. And my colleague is a colleague that I'm working with for fine-tuning of TrueAid. She has tried to run the initial algorithm that is not optimized for low research settings. And for example, on my laptop, that takes around 2.5 hours. She got the results in like maybe, I think it was 10 minutes for the initial parts. So it was, when I think about the days and nights I spent just changing a single line of code to wait 2.5 hours for the result. Well, it's
just 10 minutes. It's shocking. Yes, do we have any more questions or comments from the participants? I think no. Maybe you can reach Lemana by email after the seminar if you have more questions to ask.
Of course, I
And
would be more than happy to answer.
yeah, we would like to thank Lemana, Dr. Spahic again for her contribution and insightful presentation today. Thank you, Lemana, again for your contribution.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and our next seminar will take place 2 weeks later from today on Tuesday, July 8th, entitled as AI Meets Genetics from NCC North Macedonia. And don't forget to register. And we look forward to seeing you in the next session. You all, thank you all for joining and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Bye to
Bye.
all.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.